Hi, I'm Michele White, Associate Executive Director of FASA, and welcome to another update on legislative session. We have our Lobbyist and Governmental Affairs Director, Jessica Janasiewicz, with us, and we wanted to talk a little bit this week, Jess, about what's been going on legislatively. They haven't really had a whole lot of policy discussion, but definitely on the budget. So can you tell us a little bit about what's in there?
Absolutely. So this week actually marked the halfway mark of session. We hit the 30-day mark on Wednesday, and they began their budget conversation. And what that means is both chambers passed their respective budgets on their floors this week. This sets us up for the conferencing process that will begin later on. And the conferencing process is basically when members of each chamber are chosen to be on various committees, and they work together to try to figure out the differences between their two budgets and rectify those so that in the end we have one budget that they pass at the end of session.
Right, and not a $1.4 billion difference.
Yes, that's right.
So there's some things to work out there, but there are some FASA priorities included. So would you tell us maybe about early learning and instructional materials?
Sure, absolutely. So we've been focusing on early learning, and that has actually been a priority also for the legislature. We've seen some policy discussion around that, and we see that reflected in the budget. So on the House side, their budget, they actually increased the base student allocation for voluntary pre-K. So they're looking to support that and provide more funding there. And the House also includes some money for an assessment for VPK. So in the early learning bill that's hanging out there and has gone through a couple committees, there would be a requirement for an assessment for VPK, and they're paying for it in the House budget. Instructional materials, which we've been focusing on as well. We were excited to see, and there's actually agreement on this issue, their numbers are the same. The House and the Senate both have increased the instructional materials allocation by a little over $2 million. That's really positive. And I know in the past we've talked a lot about digital, and FASA's been really supportive of that. We do have a difference there. The Senate is continuing that digital classrooms program. They are funding it at that $20 million level, which is where we were last year. The House does not fund it, so that is something that we'll be watching as they negotiate.
Definitely supporting the Senate version.
Yes.
And keeping that in support of our districts continuing their move towards digital.
Absolutely.
And their infrastructure and training. So the big question, of course, teacher salaries.
Yes.
What does this look like in the budget, and how do we include guidance counselors? So can you tell us what's already in there?
Sure, absolutely. So just to help everyone remember, the governor came out with his proposal, which was a minimum base salary of $47,500. What the House and Senate have done is they're working to get there, but they don't quite get to that number. And we knew that was going to be a very expensive proposition. Both of the chambers have in their language with the budget the goal of getting to 47.5, and so they both basically say, here's the money you're going to get. Use that money to get to 47.5 at your base, or as close as you can. So we know some districts, their minimum salary is quite low, so it obviously will be a lot more for them to get up to that level. So there's a recognition that some districts may not get there. Some are obviously very close. In that case, if there are extra dollars, they do allow them to use that for other personnel. So we've heard a lot of discussion about that. Obviously, we know teachers are the main priority. That's what the governor wanted to focus on. But we know that there are guidance counselors and coaches and librarians and all sorts of people that do really important work at the district as well. And the schools would be able to use that money for them if they have anything left over.
Okay, and so the Senate has the $500 million specifically for that. But the House includes an additional $150 million right now for the additional personnel like guidance counselors and coaches, like you said.
That's right.
So what about the bonus program and Best and Brightest?
Yes, so we had talked about that the Senate actually had a bill to completely get rid of Best and Brightest, and that has been lingering. The House really doesn't have a version of that, but what they have both done in their budgets is they have not funded it at all. So while the program may still be there in language, it is essentially gone because there won't be any funding there. that will be something to watch. Even though they are in agreement right now, we know that the governor had asked for a replacement to Best and Brightest. He wanted funding for that in addition to the teacher salary increase. So we'll see if he gets involved and tries to lobby both the House and the Senate to see if we get a bonus program included at the end of the day.
It's such a fun process.
Just such a fun process.
So 30 days left to go,
Yep.
and that includes weekends.
That's right.
So by March 13th, with the budgets out this early, we probably think they'll end on March 13th and not have to extend.
Absolutely. I think that is the goal, to get out of here. It's an election year, so they'd all like to get home and meet with the people in their districts. So I think that is absolutely what we're on track for. The next week or so, they'll probably start releasing allocations. The presiding officers have to get together and decide the education budget is going to get this pot of money and healthcare is going to get this. That starts the process. Once they have that in place, then they can start actually meeting when they know how much they can spend.
Love it. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate the update. And please make sure you check out all of the updates below in the Advocate. And we will see you next week.